we will discuss about a semiconductor, silicon. What is a silicon? Silicon is an element having atomic number 14 and it is one of a semiconductor. The valence band electrons are 4 and hence it is a semiconductor. So earlier both silicon and germanium were widely used for manufacturing of semiconductor devices in the electronic industry. But as there were advancements in the electronic field, it was realized that silicon is much more superior than germanium, and now it is the most widely used for manufacturing the semiconductor devices. Now the question can be, why silicon we are using, why not germanium? Now let us have a close look on the atomic structure of silicon and germanium. So if we look at the silicon and germanium atom, silicon atomic number 14, electronic configuration 2, 8 and 4. There are 4 electrons, 4 valence electrons in the outermost or the valence shell, 1, 2, 3 and 4. Similarly in the germanium, atomic number is 32, electronic configuration is 2, 8, 18 and again 4. So there are again 4 electrons in the valence shell. Let us have a close look. Silicon atom 14, germanium atom 32, valence electrons 4, 1, 2, 3, 4 in germanium. Similarly in silicon, valence electrons are 1, 2, 3 and 4. So in germanium, the valence electrons are in the 4th orbit, while in the silicon the valence electrons are in the 3rd orbit and they are much closer to the nucleus. Therefore, the germanium valence electrons are at higher energy level. These outer electrons are at higher energy level. They are more away from the nucleus of this germanium. But in silicon, they are in the 3rd orbit and they are much closer to the nucleus. This means that germanium valence electrons require smaller amount of additional energy to escape from the atom and become free electrons. The more the distance between the nucleus and the orbits of the electrons are loosely bound but higher energy. More closer the electrons to the nucleus, tightly bound, but the energy is less. Now what can be the effect of this property? This property makes germanium more unstable at higher temperatures. And this is the basic reason why silicon is widely used as semiconductor material. Why silicon is preferred? Because at higher temperatures, the germanium atom becomes unstable. The electrons requires very less amount of energy to escape from the atom in the case of germanium. And hence, as it becomes unstable at high temperature, we prefer silicon. Now this figure shows the energy level or the energy band of the silicon atom. Let us have a closer look. So consider this as the nucleus. This is the first orbit, second orbit, and the third orbit. In the third orbit, we have the valence band electrons, that is the 4 numbers. So the energy associated with the electrons in the third orbit is E3. Energy associated with the electrons in the second orbit is E2. Energy associated with the electrons in the first orbit is E1. So if we look at this energy diagram, the third orbit electrons have energy of 0.7 electron volts. So this is the valence band, and the conduction band having, that is 4, means the outer orbit where the electrons will move to conduct the current. The energy of the fourth orbit is 1.8 electron volt. Now what does it signifies? The atomic number of silicon is 14, so that its 14 electrons are distributed in the 3 orbits. Each energy band is associated with certain amount of energy, and it is separated by energy gap. So this energy gap, also known as forbidden energy gap. The forbidden energy gap is between the conduction band and the valence band. If you remember the diagram, I will show you again. So this is the case for semiconductor. This is valence band, this is conduction band, and this space in between the valence and conduction band is forbidden energy gap or forbidden energy band. No electron is permitted to move in this band. The difference is 1 electron volt. Valence band it is filled and conduction band is empty. Now no electron can exist in this energy gap. So in this energy gap there cannot be any electrons. For an electron to jump from one orbit to another orbit, from lower orbit to the next higher orbit, external energy, especially heat energy is, example heat energy or electric energy is required, which is equal to the energy differences of the orbits. Energy differences of the orbits. For example, the valence band is shown here is having the energy level of 0.7 electron volt, and the conduction band is having the energy level of 1.8 electron volt. So for an electron to jump from the valence band to the conduction band, an energy of around 1.8 electron volt minus 0.7 electron volt. The answer is 1.1 electron volt must be supplied. So the energy of 1.1 electron volt must be supplied to the valence electrons so that it will jump, it will come out from its orbit and move into the conduction band. So this is about silicon atom. Now this silicon atom, or we can say silicon, it is a semiconductor. Now we will define semiconductors. So semiconductor is defined on the basis of electrical conductivity. What is a semiconductor? It is a substance that has the resistivity of 10 to the power minus 4 to 0.5 ohm meters. So a semiconductor is a substance whose resistivity is in between the conductors and insulators is called as a semiconductor. Semiconductor is a material whose conductivity or resistivity lies in between the conductors and insulators are called as semiconductors. Examples: silicon, germanium, selenium, carbon, etc. Now you students can ask me if it is a material whose resistivity is in between conductors and insulators, means it is neither conductor nor insulator, then why we should not call it as a resistor? Okay, now the answer is very simple. Look at this following table. So in this table, if you look, copper is a good conductor, resistivity is 1.7 into 10 to the power minus 8 ohm meters. Germanium or silicon, whose resistivity is 0.6 ohm meter. Glass, which is an insulator, resistivity is 9 into 10 to the power 11 ohm meter. And nichrome, it is a resistive material. The resistivity is 10 to the power minus 4 ohm meter. Now, what does it signifies? Now, if we compare the resistivities of these materials, it can be observed that resistivity of germanium is quite high as compared to copper, but it is quite low as compared to glass, which is an insulator. This shows that the resistivity of semiconductor lies between the conductors and insulators. But we cannot consider a semiconductor as a resistive material. Let us consider the example of nichrome. It is one of the highest resistive material, but its resistivity is lower than germanium. Let us have a look again. See, the resistivity is 10 to the power, and the resistivity of nichrome is 10 to the power minus 4 ohm meter. Very, very high resistivity. As compared to germanium, it is only 0.6 ohm meter. 10 to the power minus 4 means 0.000, 4 times 0 and 1 ohm meters. So it is very small. So the nichrome is having a very large resistivity as compared to germanium. Thus, electrically, germanium cannot be regarded as conductor or insulator or resistance. Electrically, neither germanium, neither silicon. Hence, we have given the name semiconductor to the elements like germanium and silicon. It is very interesting to note that resistivity alone cannot define that the substance is semiconductor or not. We have to see resistivity as well as conductivity. That is, we can say in short, electrical properties. Consider an example. It is just possible to prepare an alloy whose resistivity falls between the range of semiconductors, but the alloy cannot be regarded as semiconductor. In fact, semiconductors have a number of very different properties which distinguishes them from conductors, insulators and resistive materials. So semiconductors are having unique properties. and we cannot compare them with inductors, resistors, or conductors. Now, what are the unique properties of semiconductors? The resistivity of semiconductor is less than insulator but higher than conductor. Semiconductors have negative temperature coefficient of resistance. That is, as the resistance of semiconductor decreases with the increase in the temperature, and vice versa. As temperature increases, resistance decreases. This is negative temperature coefficient of resistance. For example, germanium is actually an insulator at lower temperatures, but it becomes a good conductor at high temperatures. And when a suitable metallic impurity, say arsenic or a gallium or indium or bismuth, is added to the semiconductor, its conducting properties change, and now they can conduct more current when a suitable impurity is added to it. We will see what are the impurities that can be added. Here impurities means addition of some other metal to the semiconductor, pure semiconductor. Bonds in semiconductors. The atom of every element are held together by the bonding of the valence electrons. And because it is a tendency of each atom to complete its last orbit by acquiring 8 electrons in it. So the atoms will try to become stable. So they will acquire electrons from others, or they will lose the electrons, so that the last orbit should have 8 electrons. But in most of the substances, the last orbit is incomplete. The last orbit does not have 8 electrons. This makes the atom active to enter into the bargain with the other atoms to acquire 8 electrons in the last orbit. What does it mean? It means that if some atom is not having 8 electrons in its last orbit, it will acquire, it will bargain, it will give and take, either give, either take with other atoms to acquire 8 electrons in the last orbit. To do so, the atom may lose electron or gain electron or share electrons with each other. So in the semiconductors, now we will focus on the semiconductors only. In semiconductors, the bonds are formed by sharing of valence electrons. Why we are discussing the bonds in semiconductor? We are discussing bonds in semiconductor because the atoms in every element are held together by this bonding only. For example, if we want to make a house, how we make a house? We will keep each brick one by one. We will cement that brick together, will interlock it, and then only they will held together. If we do not add some bonding material, that is cement, in between the bricks, we will not be able to make a strong house. In the same manner, the atoms are held together by the bonding, and this bonding is achieved either by gain of electrons, loss of electrons, or sharing of electrons with other atoms. So in semiconductors, the bonding is formed by sharing of valence electrons, and such bonds are called as covalent bonds. So in this diagram we can see the bondings in semiconductors. This line indicates bonding. This line indicates bonding. Each of the electrons are shared with electrons of other atoms. These are bonding. This lines indicates the bonding. Sharing of the covalent, sharing of the electrons, that is the covalent bonding. See, this is sharing. Sharing of the electrons. Sharing of the electrons. Sharing of the electrons. Now, consider this diagram. In this diagram, you can see silicon or germanium. Here I have written germanium. You can also write silicon in the place of germanium. In some books, you will see germanium is explained. In some books, silicon is explained. Both are same. Explanation is absolutely same. Only in the place of germanium, you have to write silicon. Rest everything is simple and same. Now here you can see that there are 5 germanium atoms, and this central atom is sharing electron with the remaining 4 atoms. One electron of this germanium atom is sharing its electron with other. This is with this, this is with this, this is with this. So actually there are 4 electrons in the valence band. Each germanium atom is having 4 electrons, and now they are sharing and they are forming the covalent bond. Sharing and forming the bond. Sharing and forming the bond. Sharing and forming the covalent bond. Here also sharing and forming the covalent bond. The bonding diagram looks like this. So here each neighboring atom, so this is a central atom and all these 4 are the neighboring atoms. So each neighboring atom shares 1 electron with the central atom. So in this business of sharing, the central atom, this central atom completes its last orbit by having 8 electrons. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 and 8. So this central atom is having 8 electrons revolving around the nucleus. This is achieved only by sharing of the electrons. And the sharing of electrons, the bonding formed is the covalent bond. Thus, the central atom set up a covalent bond. And this second diagram shows the bonding. The bonding is shown by a single straight line. Central atom and the neighboring atoms. Now we will see the properties of the covalent bonds. They are formed by the sharing of valence electrons. In the formation of covalent bond, each valence electron of an atom forms direct bond with the valence electron of an adjacent atom. We can say that valence electrons are associated with particular atoms. For this reason, the valence electrons in semiconductors are not free. Why they are not free? Because they have formed the bonding with the other atoms. And when a bond is formed a definite shape or structure is achieved, and this definite shape and size material are called as crystals. Now we will see crystals in detail. What is the crystal? A substance in which atoms or molecules are arranged in a definite shape or pattern, that is known as a crystal. All semiconductors have a definite shape and size and pattern, and hence they have a crystalline structure. We will see again one diagram where each atom of a semiconductor is surrounded by neighboring atom in a repetitive manner. So in this diagram, each atom surrounded by the neighboring atoms. Each atom surrounded by the neighboring atom. Therefore, germanium is called as a germanium crystal. Crystal semiconductor. So the commonly used crystals are germanium and silicon. So these are the most commonly used crystal, or we can say the semiconductors. Because the energy required to break a covalent bond, that is energy required to release an electron from valence band, is very small, that is around 0.7 electron volt for germanium and about 1.1 electron volt for silicon. We generally prefer silicon rather than germanium, because at higher temperatures the germanium atom become unstable as compared to silicon. Now if we look at this figure, it shows the germanium atoms are held together by covalent bond. So here the central atom, sorry, this is the neighboring atom, 1, 2, 3, 4, the central atom. So this 1, 2, 3, 4 electrons will form a bonding. So this portion represents the bonding, covalent bonding. Now as the atoms are arranged in orderly manner, therefore germanium, or we can say silicon, has a crystalline structure. These are ordered. Every one is shared with another neighboring 4. Now we will see the structure for silicon. Silicon is the most common rock, and actually what we see, the sand, it is silicon dioxide, and by the purification of the silicon dioxide we get silicon, pure silicon. And after purification we get around 100% pure silicon, which is used as a semiconductor. The atomic number of silicon 14, and so is the number of protons, and so is the number of electrons. 2 electrons in the first orbit, 8 electrons in the second orbit, and 4 electrons in the third orbit. So as there are 4 electrons in the outermost orbit, we say that silicon is tetravalent. Tetra means 4. Similarly, as we have seen germanium, here silicon atoms are also held through covalent bonds. But this central silicon atom is attached with the neighboring 4 atoms, and the valence electrons of these silicon atom, central silicon atom is shared with one each of the neighboring atom. This neighboring atom electron shared with central. This neighboring atom electron is shared with central atom, and so on and so forth. Means these four neighboring silicon atoms give one electron each to the central atom, and hence a covalent bond is formed. Covalent bond. So this flower-like structure is a covalent bond. Now we will see the energy band diagram for germanium and silicon. There are 4 bands in germanium and 3 bands in the silicon. The forbidden energy gap between the valence band and the conduction band in germanium is 0.7 electron volt, and in the silicon it is slightly higher. The forbidden energy gap between the valence band and the conduction band is around 1.1 electron volt. So this slightly higher forbidden energy gap makes silicon more stable as compared to germanium at higher temperatures, and hence we prefer silicon for making almost all semiconductor electronic components. Now even at room temperature, some of the valence electrons may acquire sufficient energy to enter into the conduction band, and thus they can become free electrons. But at this temperature, the number of free electrons which are available are very small. The rate is 1 out of 10 to the power 10 semiconductor atoms. It means that one atom provides a free electron out of 10 to the power 10 semiconductor atoms. Means the ratio is 1 is to around 10 crore atoms. So it's very small. So we say that at room temperature, a piece of germanium or silicon is neither a good conductor nor an insulator. For this reason, all the substances or elements are called as semiconductors. And this energy diagram is very helpful in understanding the current flow in the semiconductors.